I'm Madeline Anderson. Today I'm going to tell you a little bit about the teacher incentive allotment and the plans for Ore City ISD. In the presentation today, I'll share these 5 basic things, including some background information, a timeline, some success factors, and I'll be sharing a link for a survey for you. Basically, in the summer of 2019, the Texas legislature passed House Bill 3, which, along with giving raises across the board and lowering property taxes, it also established some college career readiness and some early childhood education requirements for districts. It gave us an opportunity to earn incentive allotment money for teachers that are highly effective in the classroom. TEA tells us that the basic purpose of teacher incentive allotment is recruiting, supporting, and retaining highly effective teachers in all schools, but particularly for schools that have high needs and are in a rural status. School districts that are interested in participating in the incentive allotment must submit their systems to TEA for approval, which will undergo data validation from Texas Tech University. House Bill 3 will provide between $3,000 and $32,000 per year per high-performing teacher, with higher incentive funding going to high poverty and rural campuses. This money will be allotted to the districts for those teachers. The formula is fairly complex for determining how much each teacher is allotted or each district is allotted. One couple things you should know is that Ore City is not considered rural as far as TEA is concerned, but we do have high poverty rates, and so we will earn some extra points for that. TEA has committed to posting a website soon that will allow us to search by district to learn how much each teacher could actually be allotted. This chart shows you a sample of the calculations, and as you can see, the calculations are based on whether a teacher earns recognized status, exemplary, or a master teacher designation. It also is dependent upon the economic disadvantage calculations of students, and you can see that there's tier 1 through tier 5 levels of poverty, and then of course whether your district is classified as rural or non-rural. There's a lot more information about this in the House Bill 3 and 30 video series, which you can find on the TEA website, or even easier just by Google searching House Bill 3 and 30, and you can see much more detailed explanation. Here's an example of an allotment computation for one particular teacher. There are 3 main categories for determining the amount per teacher. One is the teacher's designation level, whether it is recognized status, exemplary status, or master status. The second criteria is the socioeconomic level of the district. This sample shows a district that's 80% economically disadvantaged, and whether or not the district has rural or not rural status. So with those things all considered, this particular teacher might earn an allotment of $22,000 per year for the district. There are, again, those 3 designations that teachers can earn: recognized, exemplary, or master. The recognized status can also be earned outside of the school district's plan by going through national board certification. Teachers can earn this status on their own by going to the National Board Certification website and learning more. It is approximately a 1 to 2 year process. You can search by your state to learn more details about how to be certified in Texas. The total cost of National Board Certification is nearly $2,000, but not all at one time. Teachers that are interested in this would probably be interested in knowing that the funds spent for earning National Board Certification are fully reimbursable by the state. If you have more questions about National Board Certification, please feel free to get in touch or go to that National Board Certification website. It is definitely not required to be National Board Certified to start earning designations through the district-created platform. There are some prerequisites that Ore City and all other districts will go through to become part of the Teacher Incentive Allotment Program. And these prerequisites, we have already started here. We have to develop this plan, and we have to include robust stakeholder input. The plan must be based on a minimum of two things: teacher observations and student growth data. And prior to getting started, we must communicate our plan to our stakeholders. Here's a basic timeline for the cohort C, which is the group that we would be with. You should be aware that the data capture year will be next school year, 2020 to 2021. And what that means is this will be the time period in which student growth is measured and teacher evaluations are recorded and submitted. This will be the year that teachers earn their designations. Districts are required to submit their letter of intent to participate in the program by January of 2020, and that has been done here. Superintendent Heflin did submit that letter of intent for us. We also, by the spring of this year, have to submit our system review to TEA to get approval started. We will submit some data to Texas Tech during next fall, and then they will give us our approval. TEA and Texas Tech together will communicate with us about having our program approved in the spring of 2022, and after that, the funding will follow. Here's another picture of the timeline for getting approval and getting that funding started. TEA has communicated these 6 different measures, the readiness checklist and success factors for districts that want to participate and create their plan. And these 6 things will help us create a plan that works for Ore City. And I'll go over each one of those with you. Success factor number 1 is a strongly calibrated teacher observation system. It must be research-based, such as T-Test, Marzano, Danielson. It would require that teachers receive at least 1 annual extended observation. That's our 45-minute classroom observation. And it must include visits with feedback throughout the year. That's the walkthroughs that we would get. It is required that we have trained and certified evaluators, which are calibrated with the system to make sure that their evaluations are aligned with the rubric. It should require that the observation scores for teachers are congruent with the students' growth measures in their classrooms. And also, we need to make sure that our trends across campuses are looked at closely to ensure that we have inter-rater reliability. In other words, it's important that we have a valid system for evaluating teachers. The second success factor is that we use accurate and reliable measures for measuring student growth, and that our plan is clearly communicated to the teachers, and that we know that our growth measures are impacted by the teachers' annual summative ratings, that these things are in line. It's important that we use multiple quality measures for student growth, and that the district processes do ensure that we have valid and reliable information from our student growth data. It's important that we have reliable measures, in other words. The third success factor is developing this system for earning those designations of recognized exemplary or master teachers. It's imperative that we have teacher, campus, and community engagement in creating our system, particularly teacher engagement, which is so very important. We need the teachers involved in creating a system that we can be confident in and that we know is reliable. It's imperative that we have extensive planning in putting this together, and that we create written guidelines, that we post information on our website, and that we provide resource materials for all our teachers. The fourth success factor is our rollout of our communication plan. We need to have our leadership and school board approval for our plan before we put it forward to TEA, and that we have stakeholder communication and opportunity, and give lots of opportunities for feedback from our stakeholders, again, in particular, our teachers. What our teachers have to say in building this program is of crucial importance. And then the district has to commit to helping teachers now and in the future understand the system and provide supports for teachers so that they can earn those designations. Success factor number 5 is planning for that spending allotment, that we know in advance how we're going to spend the allotment funding as it comes in from TEA. You should know that 90% of the funding that is given to the districts for teacher incentive allotment must go to teacher compensation. However, there is flexibility in that implementation. We can choose to assign all the 90% of that fund to the teachers who have earned the allotment designations, or that money can be shared. And again, that's why it's so important that we have teacher feedback in creating this plan. You should know that 10% of the funding for teacher incentive allotment will be retained by districts across the state for supporting their plans as they put in place. And I'll give you some examples of how that money might be spent in just a moment. It is required that we have prior stakeholder input before we create our plan. Finally, our sixth success factor is sustainability. Whatever plan we create at Ore City has to be able to sustain itself. We need to take into consideration the impact that our plan will have on our human resources, our budget department, our payroll system support, and we need to plan in advance for any additional issues that this may cause. We need to make sure that we've thought about how technology will be supported for tracking all the data that we'll need to collect, and that we have the legal support of our council to make sure that our plan is solid. We need to keep in mind continuous improvement, both of the plan, of the district, and of course of our teachers. And we need to have a plan for supporting new teachers in earning designations. So we need to consider our systems management. And by following all the criteria that TEA gives us for these factors, I feel confident that our local plan will be successful. This is our timeline. In this school year that we're currently in, it's important that we collect stakeholder input and we start planning and submitting. Next year, 2020 to 2021, is when we will capture data of student growth measurements, and that teachers will earn designations of recognized exemplary or mastery status. And then the following year, 21-22, is when we'll win approval and funding. So in conclusion, Ore City really does want your help. We want your involvement in developing this plan and supporting and retaining effective teachers. So as we apply for the teacher incentive allotment, we really do want you to participate in that with us. And the first step in getting your thoughts is to please share your ideas and opinions in this House Bill 3 Teacher Incentive Allotment Survey that I'll be emailing to you. This survey is a good opportunity for you to collaborate and discuss and work through the questions together with a partner or a small group of people. Some of the questions are discussion questions, and we want your input, and I'll give you an opportunity to tell me if you want to work on a committee to help with this, and also to nominate anybody from the community that you think would be interested. So I thank you for your time, and please feel free to get in touch with me. I'm at extension 1223, or you can email me directly, andersonym@ocisd.net. Thank you for your time, and I'm really looking forward to working with you on the teacher incentive allotment. Thanks.